I'm gonna channel Michael Fassbender. I'm gonna get it in one take. Hi, welcome to Savepoint, a show about video games where we take topics from you that you send to us on YouTube, Tumblr, and Twitter using hashtag Savepoint. I'm Michael Anthony Torres.
I'm Nick Rubio.
And I'm Hunter Taylor.
So, we got some great topics tonight, so let's get into it.
Break it open. First one is from Anonymous on Tumblr. What time periods would you love to see an Assassin's Creed take place in?
I already know mine, but I feel like it's so un-Assassin's Creedy. So if you guys want to go, mine breaks Assassin's Creed. Mine, if it's set in my time period, it's not an Assassin's Creed game.
I didn't know what he said.
Oh no, I have two. I have two. I want to see a feudal era, like Shogun.
Feudal Japan.
Yeah, like a ninja.
Is that too
assassin.
easy though? Is that too easy?
I don't know. I feel like they could do a lot of cool stuff with it,
could.
you know, and like not in the time, like not like deep feudal, but like where like the West has come to Japan, and it's like that era, kind of like Samurai Champloo, where it was still. There was a lot of Western influences, like they had baseball and stuff, and
pre Japan's isolationist era.
Yeah, like right when that time, and I feel like that's when like the assassins would get there, you know.
Yeah.
And then they would like you'd have an assassin that blend with a fucking like a ninja, and then you'd have like smoke like ninjas throwing kunai stars and shit. And, you know, I feel like that'd be pretty cool. And then my other one, I'm not gonna go on about it, but Cyberpunk. Just the future. Futuristic, your robot. He's not even like dead. He's just
actually, now that you're talking about it, this isn't my pick, but I don't see why they don't just this is what I would have done with Assassin's Creed, with the ending of Assassin's Creed 3. Spoilers. At the end of Assassin's Creed 3,
maybe spoiled it already.
At the end of Assassin's Creed 3, Desmond dies.
Yeah.
And it's not because that's how the story was supposed to go. That's because the people who write Assassin's Creed are horrible writers and don't know what an arc is. They don't know that a character's supposed to start in one place and end in another. They don't understand
Me
that.
and him were talking about this one day in the car, and he was like, I fucking hate the fact that the fourth one does not have Desmond.
And here's the thing. People don't like Desmond, okay? That doesn't mean you just kill him off because you can't write a good character. If I was writing a game and someone hated a character, I wouldn't stop until everyone loved the goddamn guy. You know what I mean? But when I was thinking, how come when he touched that little circle thing that killed him, how come that little thing didn't act like an animus and he got to go all the way back and you play as Adam in that future city and you could have learned how to kill Minerva? I'm sorry, I guess I'm a better game designer than hundreds of people who work on Assassin's Creed.
Ubisoft Montreal.
Right? Get out of here.
Canadians.
Montreal with your poutine. Get out of here, I'm done. I'm sick of it.
Hire Michael. Just have him doing everything.
Alright, so what's yours?
Oh, mine is late 1940s. Like noir Assassin's Creed. like the whole using noir.
He's got like a fedora.
It's a fedora and the coat and his badge, it's a LAPD badge, but if you look really close, there's the assassin symbol.
So an LAPD Rorschach.
Yes, basically like Rorschach, but instead of the thing, it's the Assassin's Creed logo that's on his face.
You're like hunting down the Black Dahlia murderer.
Right? Yeah, that would be so cool. The Black Dahlia murderer is a Templar, and is all there's all this interesting stuff they could do. Unfortunately, with the serious advent of guns and cars, it would play entirely different. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It might be awesome, like if it was a third-person shooter.
It might play different, but I don't feel like it would affect the game negatively just because like Batman had done, like the Batman games had guns.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's still, I mean, you didn't need guns to fight back.
Yes, but also in that Batman game, you had a grappling hook, and you could fly.
But like, I feel like since it's in the future, like there's
You
stuff like that.
give him the grappling hook.
Like there'd be stuff like that.
It's on the wrist blade.
He'd have a little revolver, you know.
Exactly. A little 1911 with the Assassin's logo on the handle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I would want it because they already kind of covered every area.
Oh, you're a pirate, dude.
Huh? No. The Roman era with Ezio.
Mm-hmm.
The American Revolution. Some people might say like the Civil War, but I mean like.
Yeah, like, but that's. I feel like they could do the Civil War just because it'd be really contentious. Like killing them like American. Like it was okay, we were killing British people. Like nobody gives a fuck. But like it's Americans against Americans, you know.
To make it interesting, a World War II.
Oh.
That would be different.
But where,
really
like,
awesome.
like
Very-
where?
very
No, like,
good.
Like in-
I want to say like Japan, but like how like
Like
World
in
at
France,
War, like,
like in-
yeah.
World War II, like World at War for Call of Duty, like
Like
how
in
that
the
was-
Pacific Theater?
Yeah, like right there.
That would be
I
badass.
could see kind of like a mix of mine and yours,
Mhm.
like set during World War II, but still that kind of dark theme, and it's set in occupied France. And then the getaway, the getaway with killing all these people is like, who cares? It's Nazis. It's Nazis occupying France. Who cares?
Ubisoft, if you're watching this, notes. Jot them down.
Right? climb to the top of the Eiffel Tower and get the viewpoint.
Oh, then that's gonna be like the
Where would you
Saboteur.
like?
Bomb?
Oh my
That's
god.
gonna be similar to the Saboteur then, though.
Yeah,
That's what I
but
stopped
good. But this would be good. Got him.
Alright,
All right.
just get one.
Let's get this one right here. This topic is from Raw in Space, superfan, longtime writer. Telltale Games are maybe gonna do Game of Thrones. I actually did hear about this. Game of Thrones is gonna be made by Telltale Games. To tell you, and now here's the thing, and I know it's weird. It's because I love The Walking Dead. If I said I was excited for Telltale's Game of Thrones, I'd be lying to you. I really would.
I don't know. It depends what they do. I feel like if they do the duck and egg, the dunk and egg, like they're like basically like okay, you know the Mad King?
I know nothing.
You don't know anything? Have you ever seen any Game of Thrones? No.
Daenerys Targaryen. Emilia Clarke's boobs.
Hey.
Jason Momoa. Conan the Barbarian is in it. That's what I got.
But you know who I'm talking about,
Yeah.
the Mad King. Well, the Mad King, you know how you find out later on that the Mad King, that his brother is at the wall with John. Well, I guess that's a spoiler. I mean,
Spoilers! Too late. You already heard
I
it.
posted a Game of Thrones thing on Tumblr and everybody bitched about it, so we don't even have Game of Thrones people.
They already
Except for
left.
this guy.
They all
Except
left.
for that guy who got thrown over there.
like, there's a story of like when they were kids and like they were growing up, and he was supposed to be the king, but like he was like, no, I want to be a maester. I don't want to be a king. I want to teach people. And then he ended up getting sent to the wall and all that other shit. And so like I wonder if that's gonna be like that story.
The Wonderwall.
I think it would be really good because like already the show is so good with like its storytelling and like narrative and everything. So Telltale, obviously with The Walking Dead, they're really talented group of people who can make you really, really, really care about characters. So like
Dinosaurs.
Unless they have to handle Jurassic Park, in which case all the people
Was the
with
Back to the Future game bad?
yeah, Back to the Future games are bad.
Oh, no.
Unless they have to take something from your childhood that's super important, then all the people with talent go on vacation and they leave the B squad to make the game. Not even. That's the Bush League. It's like C squad. It's a bunch of interns.
I think Telltale, they can pull it off.
They could.
They could.
Yes.
If they do it right.
They have it's there, possibility there. It's not like, oh god, Telltale's making a game. Don't hide under the couch.
Yeah.
Even though The Wolf Among Us didn't appeal to like every person who liked the Walking Dead games.
I don't even know what is the Wolf Among Us?
The Wolf Among Us is their version for the comic book Fables.
Yeah.
Fables is an independent comic. It's going to end soon. It's ending at issue 150, and it's about a town of fictional characters like the Big Bad Wolf and Little Red Riding Hood and their lives, and they all live in this town.
Yeah.
And the sheriff of the town is Big B Wolf.
And he's a werewolf.
Big
Yeah.
Bad Wolf.
Alright.
He's badass. But yeah, I think honestly, I think they can pull it off. They can.
I think
If
they
do it
could.
right.
I think they could, but what always surprises me, and I let them slide on The Walking Dead because it was so good, was their game takes, and I mean this in the nicest way to them, there's very little in the game when we're talking like assets and animations and sound audio, and yet there's still like stuttering frame rates and chugging and loading between scenes, which if you think about what we're doing on next gen and ridiculous particle effects and processing, how is cutting the camera to a different scene
A problem.
a problem like that?
I didn't see any problem. I mean, like I didn't see any problems on my computer, but
Oh,
you
it's
know.
because you're running on
But that's the thing.
PC,
But
glorious PC Master Race over here.
But I understand what you're saying. Like it's cell shaded. It's not.
Yeah.
It's nothing like.
Exactly.
It's not Rise.
You're not going for hyper detailed realism, I mean, like there's very little that is happening, you know what I mean? It's not like it's a simulation where a fabric can change and
I don't
things
know
like
how
that
big
can
of a
change.
studio they are though. To be honest. Like I don't. Like, they put out you know the big games, but
maybe it's time for them to
upgrade.
Expand and get some more people.
I don't know. But I don't know. I'm excited to see what they'll do with it, the story wise, and when I hear what they're doing story wise, then I'm gonna.
I'm not gonna say no, but just I don't know anything about Game of Thrones, so I'll wait to see.
You play as Emilia Clarke's boobs.
If I could be Emilia Clarke's boobs, if I could be Emilia Clarke's boobs, which aren't gonna be on the show anymore because now that she's getting so famous for playing Khaleesi.
You know what they are.
Now that she's getting no. Here's the thing. Now that she's getting so famous, she's refusing to do scenes that have nudity. In the scenes that are depicted in the book with her naked, they will be tastefully shot, and you will not see her beautiful naked form.
Just go to season 1. Like you know, it's immortalized. Everybody's got to hear it.
Go back to season 3. Go back to season 1.
You're right. I go to Google.
Just watch the show.
Khaleesi's boobs.
Khaleesi
plus boobs.
It's too good. I'm too good for that now.
No. I totally get it because as someone who's done acting and I know the fear and the tropes as an actress that got her somewhere. People had no idea who Emilia Clarke was prior to Game of Thrones, but now that people do know who Emilia Clarke is, she has an image to protect, and the possibility of who's the guy who writes it?
George R. R. Martin.
Oh, George R. Martin taking another 50 years to write the next book. There might be some long hiatus between seasons where she's got to feed herself and get some food, and if there's a movie offer on the table and they're going to be like, no, you don't have the right image, you're naked in a bunch of scenes, and this might be more not family appropriate for what we're aiming for, that's a job she lost out on. Yeah. That's money she doesn't have now.
I read something that kind of made me sad that he said he's going to take the story to the grave with him. He's not going to let anybody finish his story.
There you go, man.
That made me really sad.
Bombing. That's bombing. That's real. You don't touch my crab.
Yeah.
Hemi?
Alright.
Don't write my books, Hemi?
Alright, Elliot Rodriguez at eBroadBigE on the Twitter. Dragon Age Inquisition, any thoughts on the previous Dragon Age games, ideas on what the new Fallout will be?
Alright. Not the biggest Dragon Age fan.
I'm bad way to start.
Not the biggest Dragon Age fan.
Any of them either.
I've
seen
I played them all. I played them both.
Yeah.
But we were going to do a video on this once, and we chose not to because everyone was afraid that I was going to just piss everybody off with my opinion. And it's my opinion of high fantasy and the supreme laziness that is high fantasy. And unfortunately, as incredible writers that BioWare are, they aren't immune to the tropes of high fantasy. Mm-hmm. They take no risks. The elves are at one with the nature and the face tattoos.
Everything's just very cliche.
All the dwarves, for some reason, because they're short, they feel the need to compensate with giant underground superstructures that no human could begin to comprehend and build. You know what I mean? And they do some interesting things, like with the Canary and with the Blight and all that, which are some more interesting breaks from your traditional high fantasy lore, but. It suffers from being at least for someone like me, that harkens back, especially with Dragon Age Origins, that harkens back to the old school RPG, hardcore. I'm looking at my crit hit statistics. I'm looking at this.
Baldur's Gate.
It's a very, it's got a really, really strong.
I didn't like Dragon Age 2. It wasn't.
Here's the thing: Dragon Age 2 was different, super stripped down, and stripped down to the point of a mistake almost.
So you're pretty much saying it lost its uniqueness.
Here's the thing, it was a diamond in the rough in the first game, and not a bad one by any means. It wasn't my cup of tea, but I can't say this game was bad because it wasn't. It's not a bad game.
The first thing I ever heard about Dragon Age was the fact that there was you could be gay and be with somebody else. I remember my mom oh hey Nick, come look at this. There's video games and there's gay people in it. I
remember it's the elf. There's an elf who's this bisexual elf in the group who's like if you make moves on him when you're a guy, he's like, yeah, alright. But then when you deny him at the end of the game, he's like, hey man, no big deal. NBD, bro, I'm gonna sleep with anything I want to sleep with.
I think that's also how I found out about Dragon Age. It's not this. Well, actually, not the same game.
I just thought it was funny how that's what they're making news about now.
Well, that was a few years ago before.
Well, I heard about it with my friends. They're like, oh, it's just like Mass Effect, you can have sex and blah blah blah.
Same company, so they already crossed that line, so they're gonna keep rolling with it.
Dragon Age always looked good to me. I just never had the urge to buy it though.
Yeah.
Like it never had that draw with me where I was like, oh, I was always just like, oh, I'd rather just play.
I had Oblivion, yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather just play Oblivion or
Skyrim.
Skyrim.
And the second Dragon Age suffered from they really stripped it down, and it's almost like in Mass Effect 1 to 2, where Mass Effect 2 they learned from their mistakes of Mass Effect 1 and they corrected them, and they may have overcorrected, but it was one of those like if this is where they needed to end up, they ended up like right here, close enough. You know what I mean? But with Dragon Age 2, if this was the mark they had to hit, they were like out. You know what I mean? They overcorrected some of these situations, and it led to a character that's like, or a game that could have just been called Dragon Age 2. Skip this one. Dragon Age 2. Wait for the third one. Because nothing really happens.
Oh, sorry.
Well, because like there's some interesting stuff about this. If I'm remembering correctly, it's been a while. About like there's like a trio of characters who are supposed to defeat the archdemon, like the archdemon. And if I'm remembering right, like it's hinted that your Grey Warden from the first game, the character from the second game, Hawk, and a third yet unveiled character are going to be this trinity that ends the Blight once and for all. Logic being that the third game is the third character, and they're all going to meet up, and they're going to defeat the archdemon, yada yada yada.
Dragon Age or something like that. I think that's what they call it.
Yeah, Flemeth. They're setting it. They're setting it up right now so that the main chicks like Morgana, that character, her mother, which is just the woman who raised her, is not her actual mother, Flemeth. They're setting it up so that Flemeth is looking more and more like the overall arch nemesis.
So are you excited for Inquisition? Though?
I am. I'm excited for Inquisition. I think.
At launch.
I don't think I'm gonna buy it at launch. I don't think I'm gonna buy it at launch. I mean, I've seen there's a handful of videos for it. I remember there was a leak recently. It was like 20 minutes of video, but it looks like it's fixing. It looks really good, and it looks like it's fixing the issues. And it looks like it's finding that nice middle ground between 1 and 2.
You just don't trust it yet, though.
I don't trust it yet. I really don't. And it's also not like Mass Effect, where I just beat the wheels off of Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2. I have a passing, I kind of care for the story of Dragon Age, you know what I mean? It's not like Mass Effect, I'm like, oh, I have to know. It's one of those like, if Dragon Age Inquisition comes out and I just don't happen to have $60, I'm not gonna hate myself if I just read the plot summary on Wikipedia. Like that's not gonna be the end of the world for me.
B team for you?
Yeah, that's a B team. That's a B, and I mean that in the nicest. I mean, keep in mind this is a B team BioWare game, so which means it's still like world class. You know what I mean?
And I already know your opinions about Fallout. You're not a big Fallout person.
I love Fallout.
Here's the thing. I love the idea of Fallout, and I love the morality, and I love the interesting art design and the characters. I just don't like the fact, especially the third one, how if it's going to be a first-person shooter, the fact that the shooting is so bad they had to create an entirely different system, the VAT system, to counteract that. Like, hey, don't shoot. Even though it's a first-person shooter, we know it's broken, so we're going to put in some weird real-time turn-based hybrid thing.
You want to know what's the worst part about it, though?
What?
Is when you're out of action points.
Yeah, then you're like,
fuck, I'm out of action.
You're forced to shoot that ugly green AK-47 thing.
Super mutants, okay?
Hey, the super mutants, yes!
Remember the Mega Super Mutant?
Oh my god. I killed all of them. I killed all of them.
It was like 5 of them?
I think there's 5 or 7.
There was...
5 or 7?
Yeah, there was, with the new Fallout, they haven't said anything. All that's known is that apparently that the name's been trademarked. That there's a website.
Yeah,
nobody knows if it's real or fake.
Yeah, there's the trademark in Europe, and then there's that website which nobody can verify.
The website is it's just a countdown. It's just a countdown.
It got updated.
It did?
It got updated. It got updated earlier today with the words "Nuclear winter has arrived."
Is it like in Alaska or Siberia?
No, well, I mean, in theory, you guys know the nuclear winter. The idea of a nuclear winter being that the particulates would go into the sky and blot out the sun, and there'd be a winter. So it could be like in Africa, and it could be a nuclear winter. Like a nuclear winter is a nuclear winter.
I don't know. I'm just really excited.
I just remember hearing the Morse code, and I was like, man, I really wish I knew Morse code.
But no, I do, because if you look at I played Oblivion, and boy was that game too complicated for me when I played it when I was young. And I was like, look, bro, just put me at stuff so I can hit it. But then I had to go to sleep to level up, and there was these cards, and I was the thief, and all, like, it's confusing. But if I look at the jump in quality and not necessarily simplicity, but ease of use and coherentness from Oblivion to Skyrim, if they make that same leap in ease of use from Fallout 3 to Fallout 4, then I have no doubt that Fallout 4 will be an incredible game.
I don't think that's gonna happen though. I feel like with Vegas they didn't do that.
Well, Vegas was made by Obsidian.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It was
right.
made by Obsidian.
I didn't like Vegas. Like I know a lot.
That's alright.
A lot of people.
There's a lot of
liked
glitches.
it.
There's a lot of problems
But
with
to
it.
me, I just wasn't like into it. Like
Yeah.
it just didn't draw me in like Fallout 3 did. And honestly, I think Fallout 4, if
Who gives a
me,
fuck about Vegas? There's no Constitution in Vegas.
me and Corey were talking about it, he was like, "Oh, I really want there to be another Elder Scrolls," and I was like, "I highly doubt that. It's not going to come for like another 4 years or 5 years now."
That's why the
Yeah.
MMOs came out.
Yeah.
That's why the
Exactly.
And I was like,
they put all the resources on that.
it's probably going to just be another Fallout or something.
Okay,
And
well,
a week
actually-
later, that happened.
Now that we're talking about it, so in the Fallout lore, the U.S. was just nuked it. Is it
Yeah.
China that just nuked the crap out of us, and we nuked the crap out of them? What city? Where in the United States? I think mine is a good idea, and I'll explain it why. Like, where would you like it to be set?
They already did the.
Keep in mind, places like New York and Washington D.C. Those got hit by the nukes. You know what I mean?
I would say honestly,
Well, Washington. I mean, that was level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why there's absolutely just barren wasteland in that game.
I want to see something different. Like I really liked in Operation Anchorage how they took you out
Yes.
and they like let you.
Florida. I want to see this place burn. to the
That's
ground.
exactly right.
I want to see this place burn to the ground. I want to see Florida, and I want to see it leveled, and I want to fast travel to Port St. Lucie and just mini nuke it. Just like add like salt to the wound. You know.
See, here's my
He's the
thing.
fat boy.
Exactly.
Here's my thing. I would love it to take place in the city of Miami.
Oh.
Because here's why.
It's Hispanic ghouls.
All those Cuban ghouls. So think about, especially if you guys have been, and I don't mean just like Hialeah, or like, I don't know if you at home, we are stationed out of Florida, so we know what we're talking about. I don't mean just Hialeah, I don't mean just like Homestead. Think of like all of Miami, South Beach with the old Art Deco buildings, all the way up to Hialeah in the ghetto, up near like Aventura in the city of Miami where it's the big towers and the skyscrapers, and all of that didn't get hit by a nuclear bomb. But it still got the fallout by the
Radiation.
because I think if China's deciding what's important to hit with a nuclear bomb,
They're not gonna
I don't think they're like, hey, kill all the Cubans and kill all the Haitians. They're not gonna say that. I apologize to all the Cubans and Haitians in Miami. But like that's a city that might have been attacked and might have been nuked, but more than likely isn't. So it's still standing, but just decrepit. So there's beautiful.
I feel like it might have got hit just because it's a big port. And
It is a big port, but at the same time, even if let's say it wasn't hit, you have beautiful buildings and architecture, a lot of color in the palette. You know what I'm saying?
It'll kind of be like Enslaved Odyssey to the West, where it's like, have you ever played that game?
Yes,
Yeah, where it's just pretty much like a wasteland, but it's very beautiful.
very beautiful.
And very vibrant and stuff.
Yes,
I
and
think-
think about all the animals that live in Florida. We have bears in Florida. We have crocodiles. We have the Florida crocodile and the Florida alligator. We got bear. Florida panthers.
Is it gonna be like Far Cry?
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's just so much in the state of Florida. As much as Florida is God's waiting room for all those old people to die, Florida very much would be an interesting place to see
You should
that.
put it in Orlando.
Yes, yeah, just run around Disney.
Run around
SeaWorld. Actually, I think the one place I don't want it in is in the Louisiana, Alabama, anywhere around there.
Just backwoods, nothing.
Giant snake,
Because-
giant radiated snake.
Yeah, have you played Point Lookout?
No.
It's terrible. Not
Oh.
the actual DLC. Like the DLC is good, but the actual
Yes.
area sucks.
Does it?
So bad.
Okay.
So I don't want it to be in like an area like that. Have you ever played the Pit?
Yes.
I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be very, just like you said, like very different, very colorful, very
Yes.
vibrant, or something.
Just because, and I'm like, if you look at the Last of Us, just because it's the end of the world doesn't mean it can't be
Yeah,
comfortable.
pretty,
Yeah,
yeah.
doesn't mean it can't be
Very
pretty.
saturated colors. You know.
Exactly.
People died.
Even Gears of War 3 learned that. Even Gears of War learned that toward the end of the trilogy, that you can have color. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nothing. It doesn't have to be gray and red.
Exactly.
All right. So, what do you think? What do you think is the new things with the Fallout? What would you like to see? Your favorite city that would the new Fallout
Yes,
stage did.
yes.
You know?
What city? And keep in mind, if it's big enough,
It
it
probably
probably
got
got nuked. So keep in
It's
mind.
probably leveled.
You think
Exactly.
California.
California, Los Angeles, San Francisco,
Gone.
all gone. New York, gone.
Not even because of the fact that it's big, it's just because it's really close to China and
Ooh,
exactly.
not very far.
Exactly.
One quick thing. They might put it in Texas.
Oh god, I hope
I'd be down for Texas. I
They
mean,
might put it in Texas.
because Texas is one of those places on the water, the Gulf of Mexico. It's in the Gulf of Mexico.
Like
It wouldn't have been hit.
Houston's a big, Houston's a big, like.
Houston is a very big city.
So is Austin. So is
But I don't
Dallas.
think they would have. I don't think they're gonna be like, let's bomb Houston, Texas. When there's only so many bombs, and they gotta hit all the important stuff.
All right, so yeah, tell.
Oh no!